Welcome to another episode of Dashing Dan's Olympic Adventures, where we look at past Olympians, current Olympians, and also broadcasters as well, who've had an influence on covering Olympic Games over the years. And we're here for Aussie Home Loans, who deal with anyone in Australia. They've got clients in every state and capital city, and their areas of expertise are purchasing a property, owner-occupied or investment, building a property portfolio, refinancing, debt consolidation, cash-out construction, pre-approvals, first-home buyers, equipment loans, car loans, and personal loans. And my guest today is former weightlifter Damon Kelly. 2 Olympic Games, 4 Commonwealth Games, multiple Australian champion. Damon, great to have you on the program. Welcome.
Thanks, Dan. Great to be on.
It was a great career, 2 Olympic Games, as I say, 4 Commonwealth Games. When you look back, how proud are you of what you achieved?
No, very, very proud. You see a lot of athletes say you don't really notice it too much when you're doing it. It's more when you stop and can take a step back and take a breath and you realise the achievements that you've done, and yeah, no, it feels really special, and to be a part of it all and done it all, and especially now I've got 3 young boys all growing up and getting into all various kind of stuff, and it's good to show them what I've done and give them some stories.
Are they into the weightlifting?
Just starting out. So oldest has done it for a couple of months now, and my middle boy is just coming down to the gym and doing some real basic stuff, and they're keen to get involved.
Is it still a popular sport, do you think, in this country? I mean, we haven't had a lot of success at the Olympic Games. I mean, the European countries have dominated over the years. Russia have won the most gold medals. Australia have won 4 medals. But our record at Commonwealth Games is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's weightlifting, and I think it's getting more popular. It's just more, trying to get more towards the pointier end, which we're getting. Definitely a lot more people are aware of it and know of it, and a lot of people are now at least trying it through gym work and doing fitness and gym classes and stuff like that. So there's a lot more people aware of it and kind of having a go to a certain extent, but still, trying to get a few more people to do it more and achieve the grand gold is a step. But in terms of popularity of people knowing what it is, I think it's higher. But it is tricky. It's one of those sports that it's never going to be mass participation. So it's quite a technical sport and takes a bit to get going. So it's not like we can have one soccer ball and 20 kids to run around and they can learn it. Takes a lot of one-on-one coaching and time and learning the technique to start with to get going. So it is about definitely more people doing it, I think, when I was doing it, but it's a slow one. It's a sleeping giant, I should say.
I was, as you know, the media advisor of the weightlifting team at the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast in 2018. How much do you think the success of the Australian team, and there's some wonderful performances, you did really well, finishing 4th. We saw Tia Claire Toomey absolutely outstanding and winning a gold medal. It was one of the great nights. And we saw Debbie Atkinson do well, of course, in that controversial event, the women's super heavyweight, and a few other fine performances. How much does that help put the sport on the map in this country, that particular event?
It did a lot, because, like with the home games, the fantastic thing about it is a lot of locals come and see it, and also even just the broadcast of it is in prime time, and you get a lot more eyes and ears on it. So yeah, I definitely had a lot of people stopping us in the street afterwards and saying they really enjoyed the weightlifting, or a lot of people that were at the venue at the time. I've seen years down the track saying how much they enjoyed it, and it was a really good setup there, really good venue, a few thousand people. Nice and intimate, and a really good atmosphere, and I still get people now saying they were down there and really enjoyed that week. So yeah, it's really exciting with Brisbane 2032 coming up to kind of have that opportunity again.
It'd be nice if Australia could get more to qualify. I mean, my understanding is, and you might be able to help me out here, that with the home games, Australia automatically have representation in every sport, but it'd be nice to have a few, because that's been an issue, hasn't it? I know back in 2008, in your first Olympic Games, you were the only qualifier for Australia in the weightlifting, and you only got in, I think, with your last lift, which was a personal best.
Yeah, so the qualifying's changed a lot in probably the last, since I've qualified and went to the Olympics. So it used to be based on where you ranked as a country, and that would determine how many spots you would get to fill.
Yeah,
and then you would have obviously trials on who could fill those spots. So the last two Olympics now has kind of shifted to more of your individual ranking over a period of, I think, 2 years, 18 months prior to the games. And you have to compete in a series of events, and you get points and rankings and that kind of thing. So if you all end up being ranked best in Oceania, you get to go. So with Paris coming up, we've qualified 3 lifters, 2 female and a male, which is fantastic. We had quite a few. We had a couple extra, but I think we had more in Tokyo. But they tweaked it again since Tokyo, the qualifying. So it's still a bit of work in progress, but at least now it's kind of up to the individual to go and chase it, which is still cutthroat. So we have like a lot of athletes going in the same weight class, going for the one spot as well. But I think the guys that have qualified this time will do really well in Paris, and then hopefully we just keep growing and try and chip away and keep qualifying as many as we can at the games.
When you say do really well, produce a personal best and make the final?
I think so. Yeah. So a couple. Kyle and Jackie kind of, I guess, young in terms of the sport, or they're all 24.
Right.
So kind of starting to get their straps, and Eileen's obviously a world standard, winning medals at international events. So hopefully they can all hit their straps and just do us proud.
Champion Australian weightlifter Damon Kelly, 2 Olympic Games, 4 Commonwealth Games, including a gold medal, has joined me on Dashing Dan's Olympic Adventures for Aussie Home Loans, who have over 25 lenders around Australia. Damon, your first Olympic Games, as I say, was back in 2008. It was obviously at Beijing. What was the experience like? Was it everything you thought it would be and more?
Yeah, it was just kind of surreal, So even the whole qualifying process was quite intense. So we had to actually, during the first half of the year, as a country, as a team, finish in the top 3 at Oceania. And the way the championship results ended, I had to win a gold medal at Oceanias to qualify 1 spot for the Olympics, and it was a battle between Ide and myself, and I got the gold, which was good, and that got us the 1 quota. And then it was 2 or 3 weeks later that we had our final trials, and we had about 6 or 7 of us going for the 1 spot out of 5 different weight classes. And it was just that competition, that trial was probably one of the most intense competition I've been in. It was down at the Hawthorn venue, and it was jam packed. It had the male and female qualifiers basically fighting out for the 1 spot, and it was lift for lift, and the pressure was on every lift. And I got the win that day, and pulled out a personal best to make the team. And just such relief after that, and it was sad and happy because my training partner Ben Turner, I had to beat him. We trained together for so long, and we had the 1 spot, and I had to beat him to get going. So sad to see him miss out, but happy to get the win and get to go to the Olympics in Beijing. And then even just the whole process of just, I don't know, just watching it on TV, and then just being there in the places you've seen on TV and around the villages, and in the uniforms, and just for me, the best part about the Olympics is being part of a larger Australian team. Before that, I was lucky enough to travel to international competitions and represent Australia at Oceanias and that kind of thing. But being part of a larger Australia team with the swimmers and athletes and shooters and divers and everything like that is really fun and enjoyable, and just to be able to share the experience with them as well made it pretty fun.
How pleased were you, Damon, that when the pressure was on, you were able to lift to the occasion, excuse the pun, and produce a personal best? And by doing that, did you go to Beijing confident you could perform well?
It was good. It was good to be able to execute it. So not letting any nerves or pressure get to me. Thinking back, I kind of felt confident doing it. So everything kind of went to plan for the competition. I hit all the snatches I need to hit, and I thought it landed where I thought I had a chance. And I knew training leading up earlier in the year, I was kind of due for a bigger clean and jerk. I was ready for it. So I'm one that tends to lift better in competition than training. So I really like the adrenaline and the pressure of competition to push myself to perform. So I was happy with that. And then it probably took a while to recover from that, even just physically from that competition. And then it's just exciting it's more exciting to get moving and try and replicate it again over in Beijing.
Do you prefer the clean and jerk discipline to the snatch because of the theatre? I remember in 2018 when you were putting up an outstanding performance in your last Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast, and you were firing up that crowd. I mean, the clean and jerk is all about, obviously, you get to halfway and then you lift over your head, and obviously you've got to get the white lights to go your way. But it is all theatre, the clean and jerk, isn't it? Snatch, straight up, bang, is a bit more clinical. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is. So obviously our competition is based on the total. So we need to get one of each lift to be able to be in the competition. And we have a saying, snatch for show, clean and jerk for dough. So it's like, I guess it's like putting for golf.
Yeah.
You know, you can have the big drive and everything, but you've got to putt to win, and that's what you got to do. You got to clean and jerk to win in weightlifting. So I think that's probably why, I enjoy the clean and jerk a bit more, just because you are lifting more weight, but also the pressure's on, and that's when the medals get decided.
How much work, Damon, do you do? And I've asked a few of the athletes this question. I mean, Debbie Flintoff-King, I asked her about lunging at the line, helped to win a gold medal in Seoul in 1988. And you ask AFL footballers, no doubt rugby league players, close to an end of a game, how they would execute to get over the line. I mean, the golden point in rugby league and AFL to defend a lead or kick a goal in the last 30 seconds. How much work do you do on, obviously, keeping your balance so that you get a lift that is given the green light or the white lights, if you know what I mean? Obviously, you've got to make sure you've got your balance and you're standing still. Is that a big part of your training?
It's probably just executing technique and trying to perform, I guess, to perfection, I guess, to a certain extent. So weightlifting is a pretty unique sport where it's like we essentially do 6 lifts and we're done. Obviously, we've got to warm up for them, but we want to execute those lifts perfectly, and then we've got to make sure that we can keep our technique and keep our focus under fatigue. And fatigue for us mightn't be running 20 laps; it's lifting under a big load. So that's our fatigue, and we've got to make sure that pretty much every training session we do, we are training under a different type of fatigue and making sure that we can still execute the technique and lift properly to be able to perform under pressure, so that when you got that last lift and you're tired and you're ready, and you know that you've got the faith in all the reps and weeks you've done in training to be able to execute it the way you want.
Damon Kelly is my guest on Dan Lonigan's or Dashing Dan's Olympic Adventures with Dan Lonigan. for Aussie Home Loan star Australian weightlifter, went to 2 Olympic Games in 2008 and 2012. Were you happy to finish 8th in 2008 in your first Olympic Games? And you're only 25 years old, so basically when it comes to that sport, you were still in the very early stages of your journey, weren't you?
Yeah, I was definitely happy to finish there. Like, I was disappointed in the weights I lifted. I missed a couple of snatches I should have got, I felt. But still finished strong with a solid clean and jerk, and I think I got the highest position I could have got that day. So I was happy with that. And then being part of it as well, and realising your name's up in the books of all the legends used to idolise and watch. I'm very pleased to do it and be part of it and get my name in the history books, so to speak.
Now, you played rugby union at school, and I believe one of your teammates was a very good rugby league player in Cooper Cronk. Did you always know that he was going to be a star in that sport? And why did you change from rugby union to weightlifting?
Yeah, Cooper did okay for himself.
Just okay.
It was awesome to watch him. It was awesome to watch him progress. So, no, he was talented at school. Really dedicated and trained hard. And I think he made the Australian schoolboys for me when we were in Year 12. So, he was very talented back then with it, and definitely very dedicated. So, really, really, really excited to watch him run through and progress and do what he's done, and still see him on TV nowadays talking footy. But when I guess I played rugby from a young age at school, from Year 5 to Year 12, and I managed to kind of do well. I made the first 15 and a couple of little rep teams in Year 12. I started weightlifting when I was in Year 10. So the last few years while I was playing rugby, I was doing both weightlifting and rugby union, and I got a training with the Reg College for a bit when I played Colts under 19s, and basically got to a point where it was too hard doing both, and had to make a decision. So it was a tough one, but I think weightlifting just got me. It hooked me. I really enjoyed the competition side of it and the thrill it gave me. And then I had some success of making a couple of junior Australia teams at that time when I had to make a decision, and I did, and thought I'll do weightlifting full time and pass on the rugby. No, I still enjoy it now. Still watching it, and now my sons are playing it too. But yeah, that was. I think ultimately I just enjoyed the competition side. Enjoyed it, and then for rugby, I don't know. I felt I'm not sure. It was just it was a tough one. I think financially probably better if I stayed at rugby. But happy to get all the experience I've done so far in weightlifting and what I've seen and what I've experienced.
Well, as we've said, you've had a great career. I mean, after 2008, you went to Delhi and won a gold medal in 2010 in the Com Games. You must have felt then that, wow, I've achieved a lot in the sport, that you, even though, of course, bigger competition in 2012, that again, using the word confidence, would have increased your confidence of performing well in London, knowing that you've got a gold medal under your belt.
Yeah, Delhi was really great. Definitely after, so I won a silver medal in 2006, and the first Commonwealth Games, I really just, I don't know, I was kind of surprised being there, and it didn't kind of just took it all in, and not really, like, I guess now then after that I go, hang on, I want to try and win a gold medal here. So definitely put to work, and then to execute it, in a really tight battle between myself and Italian over in Delhi. I said to come out with a win was bloody awesome, and super proud to get that. And I think that was giving me the confidence of knowing that what we were doing was working, and I could keep going and keep pushing for the second Olympics in London. which I did, and then probably got injured in the lead up to London. So not ideally the weights I wanted to do, but got to execute the lifts on the day, and same thing. Yeah, good to be there, and wish we could have done more and finished higher, but I did the best I could on that day with the lead up and injuries I had.
Well, it was 16th, which again is a pretty good effort. I mean, you've got to be happy with that. Always heavyweight, always super heavyweight, Damon?
Yeah. So I was always a big kid. Mum and Dad used to have to take my birth certificate to rugby games. So I would have been when I started weightlifting, I was 14, and I was 123 kilos when I was 14. So that was before doing any weights whatsoever. So just big bones and big boy. And then obviously doing weightlifting. The super heavyweights is when I did it was over 105 kilos. So I was always destined to be a super heavyweight in weightlifting.
Just on that, I mean, how hard was that on your body, carrying that sort of weight around, knowing that you had to carry that sort of weight around if you were to compete with the best in the world or the best in the Commonwealth, depending on the event?
I never found it too hard because I never had to do extra to put on weight. So it was my natural kind of size and build. So by the time I got to I probably competed in my body weight around 140s, 140 kilos. So only an extra 20 kilos than when I was 14. And then they said I didn't have to eat extra or train extra or do anything to bulk up. That's just where I sat. That was my just my natural weight.
So your mum and your wife didn't need a personal loan for your food bill, Damon?
No. Dad was a butcher, so it helped.
It certainly did. I mean, look, I remember watching you in the 2018 Commonwealth Games. I suppose it was just a case of, and Australia were represented in every weight division, and we had a couple of the young girls who were of the lighter weight, and they had to obviously weigh their food, and they just couldn't wait for their event to end so they could actually eat normal foods for once instead of having to weigh their food so they only had a certain amount. I suppose you could just eat what you wanted to fuel your fire in a lot of ways, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's I guess the luxury of being a super heavyweight or being the right body weight for your category. So most often than not, in weightlifting or any bodyweight sports, most people will train 2 or 3 kilos above their weight class, and then as it gets closer to competition, diet and cut down. So I didn't have that option because there's no way I was dropping 45 kilos to make it into the next weight class. So it is a luxury to have, but then I have to put up with all the other lifters making weight and complaining about it in the weeks leading up to it. So it does have its downside.
Do you think in a lot of ways with the super heavyweight, they're the most entertaining to watch because of the fact they're big guys and they can go out being big guys and they've got to lift these big weights and they really make the sport fun? Not that the other weight divisions don't, and it's great when Australia win medals, but to watch the big guys like yourself up there and you're putting on a show, it adds to the entertainment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just I guess it's where some of the biggest weights are lifted as well. So you're seeing the big weights get thrown about, and it's probably something you don't really see too many big guys competing at elite level. You're used to a lot of toned and fit athletes in the swimming, in the athletics, and the smaller size in other sports where. It's probably just it's something a bit different that people don't get to see. People this size, it's probably not running around for football.
No, exactly right. Now, obviously, you went to the Com Games in 2018 in the Gold Coast. Did you try to go to the 2016 Olympic Games? I mean, you'd been to obviously 2. Was it an aim to get to a 3rd?
Yeah, no, I did. I was training really hard for that one, and then. The way they set up the trials was our last trial was the Oceania Championships for that year. It was over in Fiji, so I had to hit a certain. I think I had to get 216 clean and jerk in the end.
Yep.
I missed it my second attempt, and on the third attempt I got it, but unfortunately got 2 red to 1 white lights for the referees. So if I had one more white light, I would have been heading off to Rio. But unfortunately, I missed out on that one. So pretty devastated to get so close to being a 3-time Olympian. And just with the lift, it felt good, but got to trust the referees and they're doing their job. But it just felt like a good lift, and to get so close was pretty heartbreaking.
You're a pretty laid back, gentle giant, Damon, but did you ask the question? What stopped them from giving you at least 2 white lights instead of just 1, which you needed? I mean, must have been line ball, because you see it and you think to yourself, gee, that's got to be a clean lift. They're balanced themselves sufficiently enough, and then it doesn't go their way. And then you see another one and think, oh, gee, they're a bit wobbly. That won't go through, and it does go through. So do you think at times the interpretation's a bit inconsistent, not just with your lift on that day, which cost you a spot in the team, but in general at times?
It can be, yeah. So on that day, I didn't really ask the question because there's no point. I didn't want to find out. But yeah, you see it every now and then. So we do have a jury as well that can overturn decisions, but didn't happen that day. But even with the jury, you can see some good lifts get red lighted, and the other way, some bad lifts get given a good lift as well, and they can sometimes slip through the cracks. So it's probably it can happen, and I guess they have been trialing video replays and challenges in weightlifting over the last few years. So they're trialing that, but yeah, it probably slows down the competition a bit.
Do you think, though, it would be better? I know it might slow down the competition, but I mean, we are heading that way with a lot of sports, aren't we? Trial by video, etc. Tennis, it works. Cricket, I reckon it works. AFL, they're still working on it. Rugby league at the bunker, I reckon's been a great success. So do you think we'll get down that track, not only with your sport, but with most sports?
Yeah, I think so. Just be getting the right, especially, I guess, for weightlifting, be getting the right angles. And like in cricket, to stop the howler, that's probably the one that's you want. And there's always going to be line balls and decisions that are going to go to 50-50, even with replays and everything. So, and then everyone's got their own interpretation of the rules. But yeah, I think we'll probably head towards that way once they get even just probably better technology in terms of camera and definition, like the definition of the recordings, and how quickly they can get that back. So weightlifting's only the big stuff gets broadcast quality cameras and that kind of thing. So most of the competitions are probably run still pretty low tech.
Dashing Dan's Olympic Adventures has Damon Kelly, dual Australian Olympic weightlifter, 4-time Commonwealth Games weightlifter, and won a gold medal. He also won a silver and a bronze, but won a gold medal at the New Delhi Commonwealth Games, and also won medals at Commonwealth Games in Glasgow and also Commonwealth Games in Melbourne. And his last event, he finished 4th in 2018 in the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast. When you missed out, Damon, and just missed out in 2016, were you considering giving the sport away, or you knew that the Gold Coast was coming, you were determined that you weren't going to finish like this?
No, I knew the Gold Coast was coming, so that was a massive carrot. I think no matter what happened in Glasgow, maybe if I won the gold, I don't know, I might have retired. But I think whatever happened, I knew the home games was coming up, and I just remember the experience from Melbourne and how enjoyable that was, and then especially being the Gold Coast and being based in Brisbane, just down the road, so. A lot of family and friends could make it along and support me and then just enjoy the game. So that gave me a lot of motivation to keep going and let them experience as well as me.
How long did it take you to get over the disappointment of missing out narrowly on the games in 2016 in Rio, which, of course, is a special place, spectacular place, a party place. It would have been a great experience to go to, no doubt.
Yeah, it was, and then because Tia made the team for the women's on Rio, so we tried together for a bit, and we had the same coach, so that would have been a really good experience to share with her and our coach. I can't remember now. I think it was just, I was pretty upset for a while, but I got back into it relatively quickly just to keep moving and keep doing it. So with weightlifting, either you use it or lose it. So I didn't want to have too long of a break and make it even harder to get back into it. I probably took it a bit easier in terms of training for a while, just to tick over. But I knew with the Gold Coast in a couple of years' time, not even really about a year and a half after all the trialling and everything, and with the games, the Gold Coast being early, it was at the end of 2017 that the trials would have been on, so it really wasn't a huge amount of time between the two in terms of weightlifting. When we program in 3 or 4 month blocks, there wasn't too many to get back into training.
What were the London Games like compared to Beijing? Of course, as I say, your second Olympic Games. I was lucky enough to be there. I thought it was a fabulous experience. Beijing's a big city, but London's just one of the great world cities, isn't it? I mean, I thought they did a great job the way they held them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed London. It was good to get around. I had friends over there, and I think that all the venues were great, and the village was good, and probably a bit easier to get around in terms of just personally. Obviously, speaking English and having that not having the language barrier there, it made it easier. It was just it's pretty fun games, I thought, and it's hard to split the two. Like Beijing was fantastic because the first one, you're seeing it all for the first time, and then in London was great because I think they did a really good job and kind of knew what to expect a little bit, so you could kind of probably enjoy a couple more things, like go to a few more events and that kind of thing. So got to go to watch athletics and a bit of basketball and the Boomers and check out the volleyball and that kind of thing. So enjoyed it definitely the second time around as well.
What would be your advice to someone going to the Olympic Games for the first time in Paris, no matter what the sport is?
Just be, like I said, enjoy it. Like don't try and don't get too overwhelmed by it being the Olympics. You still got to do what you got to do, just in a different place. So not getting too nervous, and which is easy to say, but and just enjoy and soak it up. Like get used to your uniform, get used to your teammates, try and relax and talk to other athletes from other countries or other coaches or other people from the Australian team. Enjoy the headquarters, enjoy the breakout spaces, and just get into your routine and still train really hard and focus for your competition, and just treat it like any other competition and do your best.
This is Dashing Dan's Olympic Adventures. Damon Kelly, dual Australian Olympic weightlifter, is my guest. Great to have him with us. And we're here for Aussie Home Loans. Their areas of expertise include purchasing a property, owner-occupied or investment, building a property portfolio, refinancing, debt consolidation, cash out, construction, also pre-approvals, first home buyers, equipment loans, car loans and personal loans, and they've got over 25 lenders. Now, you spoke about the experience of meeting athletes from other sports. Did you bond with specific athletes or specific sports, or just everyone in general?
Pretty much everyone in general. But yeah, you probably, because weightlifting is only small, we only there's two of us and a coach. So we get put around with other sports. So I remember I was rooming with the shooting team in L8, and they were really, really friendly guys and girls and made you feel welcome. And then I think in London was a boxing team, so it's good to get to know a few of those guys and yeah, and I think Jeff Horn was in the room in our apartment, so it was good to see him go well with that Olympics and post Olympic career as well. But yeah, pretty much anyone. I just it's just I found it great to just talk to the people, how they're going, what they do, and see what they do for training and that kind of thing, and just get a bit of info on their sports, and because you can kind of get caught up in everything about yourself and what you do, and kind of almost overanalyze things. So it's good to hear what other people do and prepare, and how they like their venues, or if there's fast track, fast pool, courts are good, or whatever. So it's good just to have something different to think about and focus on than your upcoming comp or your training.
So I take it was a holistic team approach and team environment with everyone included, which is fantastic, isn't it? And that's the Australian way. I mean, when they were struggling to win gold medals and fighting, or again, for want of a better expression, lifting out of their weight division, I think that togetherness helped, didn't it? And as they've got better, that togetherness has continued.
Yeah, I've seen over the last probably few Olympics now, like just getting, I see like a lot of the sports are getting more recognition. I know you can get caught up with the ones that win the medals all the time, but I see that like all the announcements and the coverage, and everyone gets their kind of they're a bit of limelight and everything, and they're doing a really good job in terms of making everyone feel part of the team, which is good because you might bump into them. I know the village can be pretty busy and crazy, but it's good to just say, yeah, if you've got a green and gold shirt on, you know that you can go up and have a chat to them and or say hello.
It's fantastic. Now, your home city has got the games, Brisbane, in 2032. How do you reckon they'll go? And do you think they need a brand new stadium? Or, I mean, there's been a lot of chat about this, or does the Gabba need to be reconstructed, or does both need to happen?
Oh, I think Brisbane will do well. Definitely been a lot of development over the last few years, and more coming up over the next few years. And it's a really, really, really nice city. We'll be getting lots to do, and new Cross River Rail and everything like that. So I personally think that we do need a new stadium. I think the Gabba would have been good, but I think just the restraints on the site is too much. It is surrounded by three of the busiest roads in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And it's already overhanging. So I think in terms, you want to build something that you can have, modern facilities in. And that's probably where the Gabba struggles at the moment. Like, it's a good viewing stadium. I love going and watching the Aussie Rules of cricket there. Not a bad seat in the house, but the mod cons and food and drink and all that kind of stuff could be better. So I think if they can potentially build a stadium elsewhere that's still connected with Cross River Rail or public transport network, or relatively close to the city, so you can kind of have almost a connection between a bunch of venues, and then almost they could redevelop the Gabba into something like a large indoor arena, like the O2 or something they have in London, because you have all the Cross River Rail there and everything, and that's probably something Brisbane's lacking. They've got the entertainment centre at Boondall, but that's a fair way out of the city, so maybe the Gabba could be redeveloped into something like that, as opposed to a athletic stadium, and they could build a new oval stadium somewhere at Hamilton or something like that. That would be close to the new Olympic Village.
So if you were to build a new stadium, and as you say, some new facilities, I mean, we saw with London where you had the athletics track at one end, you had all the IBC, International Broadcast Centre, in the middle, and then you had all the other venues as you made your way down the path at the Olympic Centre, which was a little way out of London, of course. But it seemed to work, didn't it, Damon? It was just easy to get to, easy access. You had basketball down the bottom, hockey down the bottom, and then you'd make your way back up to the athletics track once you'd seen everything. And that's sort of what you need, something like that.
Yeah, something, a good cluster of at least a few together. So that's something London did really well, was the temporary venues. I watched a basketball from a venue that it didn't exist 10 days later. So it can be done, the temporary venues. And it'd be good to have. I think we need a new, bigger stadium. By the time Brisbane's going to have a bigger population in 10 years' time as well. So it can be done, and then So I know they've got venues slated. I know the Chandler's getting indoor centre, Moreton Bay's getting indoor. They've got a few bits and pieces popping around, which are going to be great for training and future community facilities as well. But I still think we need a bit of a showpiece for Brisbane as well. And just a legacy. So I think we've already got a lot of great sporting infrastructure that will get refurbished and keep going. But it'd be good to have something in the city that was specifically built for the Olympics that we can continue to use.
Well, we don't want it to cost too much, but then again, if you want to produce the best, at the end of the day, you might just have to fork out the money if you can.
Yeah, I think they got the money somewhere. Surely they can shuffle a couple of things around. Creative accounting, people have done it before.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Damon. Now, tell me why the Eastern European countries are so strong at a sport like weightlifting. I mean, the Russians in particular have dominated, haven't they, for many, many years?
I think it's just the popularity. It's a popular sport there. So, and their top athletes are generally probably full-time athletes as well. So it'd be kind of like, and probably in a lot of the other countries, I guess for speaking on Australia, it's probably not pretty rare to be a full-time athlete, and having all the support that those guys would have as well. So it'd be all like comparing like your park footy side versus NRL side. So the NRL side is going to go pretty well.
Of course.
Even though the park footy team could be talented and everything. So that's probably like the difference of where it's at. I think it's just, you could say why rugby league's not as popular in Eastern Europe as it is in Australia. So it just comes down to more people doing it, better infrastructure, more coaches, better coaches doing it. You're finding the top talent is doing your sport, as opposed to weightlifting people. Well, I stumbled into it as a sport, and it's probably it's on the list of sports that kids want to do, as opposed to finding it in Australia. You probably find it a bit later and later in life, or a bit older and not as popular. So I think that's pretty much what it comes down to, and just getting the right people in the right sport.
Would you like to coach, or are you doing some coaching nowadays? And if so, do you see that as something you'd like to do more of in the future, considering what a great career you had?
Yeah, I coached over the years. So I was coaching while I was still lifting at a gym, and then as my family started to grow, I need to get a real job. So we got back into construction in estimating, and then a bit longer, and then it was getting too hard to juggle. So I coached Matty Lidderman he competed for Australia in Tokyo. I coached him to there, and then just getting just too time poor at the moment. So still heavily involved with my club, Cougars Weightlifting Club, vice president there, and helping them out as much as I can. Still got my toe in the water, and then I'll definitely get back into coaching once time permits.
So you'd like to have a role in Brisbane of some sort, if you're offered and asked, and if you had time, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Even I was lucky enough to get in Birmingham. I was part of the Australian headquarters team for team experience over there, and I got to be part of. We ran the little breakout room at the Hilton Village over in Birmingham, and that was, I really, really liked that experience, to share, I guess, my experience with other athletes, and providing a space for them to come and hang out and ask any questions, and welcome to the village, and give them little celebrations after they're finished, and really making them feel welcome. So that was something I thoroughly enjoyed, just being back in the team environment again. And then I'll put my hand up for anything with Brisbane, either team or organising. I'd love to be involved somehow. I'll keep my eyes and ears open.
Well, I will too, Damon. You'd be a very valuable addition and commodity to the Australian team, no matter what Olympic Games or Commonwealth Games it is. I appreciate your time today. It was an outstanding career. I got to know you well, being the media advisor of the weightlifting team in 2018. You're such an easy team to deal with. You all basically, including you, said in the end, "Oh, Dan, you don't need to be my middleman anymore. I'll do all my media myself." And you're very good at it. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you today. Congratulations on a great career, and good luck moving forward. I appreciate you joining us on Dashing Dan's Olympic Adventures. We're here for Aussie Home Loans. They deal with anyone in Australia. They've got clients in every state and capital city. Thanks very much.